to me that maybe it'd be a nice idea if I read some of my book, Where the Dogs Go. It is a love story, and I think we all need a little love right now with our world being so chaotic and upside down. So here we go, chapter 1. Actually, there's a little introduction first. Okay, ready? Every good fairy tale starts out with once upon a time, and this one is no exception. However, this tale, which might at times appear to be a fictional fairy tale, is actually based on true life, my life to be exact. It is a story of life, its hardships and its successes. But most importantly, and most unquestionably, it is above all a story of love. A story of true love and the magnetic and magical energy pull which true love creates, becoming a magnetism so strong that life and beyond cannot and must not escape. Okay, here we go. Chapter 1. Watch out, world. Here I come. Okay, so here we go. Once upon a time, there was the most auspicious birth that ever there was since the beginning of, and maybe even before, recorded time. No, not that kid in the manger birth. Rather, the birth of a creature so spectacular that I am certain the heavens above were aligned in a truly magical formation, because on this day I pushed my way out of what was an almost unbearably tight and somewhat claustrophobic, extra tight as my baby brother was hogging half the space, womb. My first recollection was of my mother's soft tongue gently washing me off and helping me to suckle on her warm milk. Those first few weeks were so sweet. My birth mother could not have been more gentle and loving, showing me the ways of my world. Oh yes, the ways of my world, the world of a dog. Did I mention to you that I was born with 4 legs and 4 paws? Now that I think about it, it is probably a good thing that I mentioned it to you, as, that mother licking me off with her tongue segment from the last paragraph might have stirred up some pretty freaky images if you thought that I was a little human baby boy. My birth mother, Ginger, was the most beautiful dog ever. She had soft white hair with spots of caramel running throughout her coat. As the weeks went on, I became very close to Ginger and my little brother. My birth mother referred to us as her baby dogs and said that someday our human would give us our names that we'd be called by. But in the meantime, she gave me the name Lucky and my brother the name Luke. Her green eyes kept a watchful guard on my brother and me, making sure that we learned the essential canine skills that every dog needs to know. Those first few weeks were so amazing. Everything I did was new to me. We first learned how to walk without stumbling and how to run without tipping over. Peeing, on the other hand, although an automatic bodily function, was not as easy as one would anticipate. I first had to learn how to stand and pee without getting my tail or legs wet, and just because something looks like it should be easy doesn't necessarily make it so. Luke and I laughed and giggled so much trying to master the art of peeing that it would make us pee after we peed. We basically peed ourselves from laughing so hard trying to learn how a puppy is supposed to properly pee. Eventually, I realized I conquered the art of peeing when I mastered lifting my back leg and peeing on a tree without tipping forward. I also went from suckling on my mother for milk to learning how to lap it out of a bowl and how to lick my paws and coat clean when I got dirty. There was so much to learn, yet the outside world was beautiful. There was such a variety of colors and scents and textures in the outside world, and exploring and learning about my new world became a continuously amazing adventure of excitement and fun. There was one incident during those first few weeks, a memory that stands out in my mind of an experience that started out as terribly frightening that became, well, I guess you could say, transformational. Ginger had always insisted that Luke and I stick close to her. She wanted to make sure that we were in her sights at all times and out of harm's way. So one day when we were heading outside to play, I was so excited that I tried to run a little and I stumbled and fell down. By the time I was able to get up on all fours, Ginger and Luke were no longer in sight. I felt panicky, not knowing which way to turn, so I stood there for what seemed like an endless time, crying and hoping that she would come back and find me. I felt so alone and scared, and I tried to remember the route to the outdoors outside from our previous trips. But as I always followed Ginger, I never memorized the path I needed to take. When I finally got tired of standing there and crying, I decided to try and sniff out the path to the outside by myself. But there were so many scents indoors that I became confused, and before I knew it, I had wandered off to a part of the house I had never seen before. everything looked so strange. And as I was still so tiny, I could only see as far as my eyes could reach. I wasn't strong enough yet to jump or even run. As I clumsily roamed around inspecting the new territory and searching for Ginger and Luke, I almost tripped over my own 2 front paws when my eye spotted what looked to be a puppy. Huh, were my eyes already failing me at a young age, or could they really be another puppy in the house? If so, I wondered where this little mutt had been hiding. As I started to tiptoe towards it, it seemed to also be coming towards me. And when I finally stopped and looked at it square in the eyes, it stopped and gazed directly back at me. It looked so much like Ginger and Luke. Did I have a sibling in the house? I was pretty sure it had just been Luke and me in that tight womb. I remember when I was first born, Ginger was surprised there were only 2 puppies. She was anticipating having a larger litter, so I couldn't imagine who the heck this puppy intruder could be. When I woofed at it, it appeared to bark back at me at the same time. At this moment, I was as puzzled as a wee puppy could be. The puppy didn't really look frightening to me, so I decided to reach out my paw to it as a gesture of friendship. And I was happy to see that the puppy wanted to be friends with me too, as it simultaneously reached out a paw back. But when our paws touched, what I felt wasn't soft puppy fur. It was hard and a bit cold. I was perplexed and now somewhat fearful of this trespassing little mutt. Then I heard Ginger frantically barking, trying to find me. And as I turned around to see Ginger and Luke coming towards me, I started to bark to them in my loudest voice that there was a puppy intruder in our midst. When I turned back around to point a paw towards the puppy, you can imagine the shock, knowing that Ginger and Luke were behind me, to now also see them in front of me. I'm surprised I didn't have puppy heart failure or go into puppy cardiac arrest from the trauma of it all. In fact, I think I would have fainted if Ginger hadn't spoken up so quickly and said, "Lucky, this is what humans call a mirror. You are looking at yourself. This is why I wanted you to stay close to me, as I still have so much to teach you. There is still so much for you to learn." Well, when the fear and the fright finally wore off, I stood there and had a good look at myself. I had white hair with spots of caramel in my coat, just like Ginger and Luke, but my eyes weren't green like theirs. My eyes were a beautiful shade of brown, and they sparkled in the middle. Wow, I was really cute. I was as handsome as hell. I was going to be a heartbreaker for sure. And when I smiled at myself, realizing that I was genetically blessed with the cute gene, I noticed that my little pink tongue hung out, making my overall look braggably adorable. I, of course, stayed close to Ginger after that, but although this initially started out as a traumatizing event, I realized that on some level I was a brave little dog. And as scary as the whole experience originally was, I was thrilled to know how I looked to the outside world. You can believe me when I tell you that I took every opportunity I could to check my cute little self out in the thing called the mirror. Well, time flew by, and life's joys and life's lessons, both good and bad, were all part of the puppy growing and maturing process. By the time we were almost 3 months old, we'd gone from stumbling, bumbling newborn puppies and had developed into hardy, independent little pups, still learning, but so much more confident in ourselves. One night after dinner, Ginger pulled my brother and me, Luke, in close to her, and as we nuzzled into her fur, she told us that she had 2 very important things to discuss with us. The first, Ginger went on to explain, was that we were born of a very special breed of dogs, and that our ancestors were among the most cherished and worshipped dogs of all human time. We were Lhasa Apsos, purebred dogs that historically had guarded the Tibetan monks, and were during that time sacred animals, worshipped by all. I took one look at Luke, and the both of us had the biggest grins on our mugs. Wow, sacred and worshipped. I especially liked the idea of being worshipped. Basically, that meant, well, how can you say it without bragging? You can't. In essence, it meant that Luke and I were doggy royalty. Wow, now royalty, that was a revelation that really rocked in my little world. As Luke and I frolicked about, our tails wagging proudly, giddily giggling about our amazing ancestral fortune, Ginger reminded us that she had told us that she had 2 very important things to tell us, and she was only halfway there. Well, I wasn't sure we could possibly talk being doggy royalty, but Luke and I calmed ourselves down so we could hear our second important and hopefully just as marvelous discovery. Once we were listening carefully and snuggled back into Ginger's fur, Ginger went on to explain that as we hailed from a lineage of incredible, sacred, and special canine creatures, that there was an expectation for us to always stay strong, to react calmly, and to be wise and kind. And having this expectation of behavior from our distinguished ancestry should make her second important topic of discussion much easier for us to understand. I was starting to get this feeling in my belly like the royalty thing was definitely going to be the highlight of Ginger's discussion with us. In a calm yet loving voice, Ginger told us that in the human world, puppies as cute and special as herself were put up for adoption so that another human family could find the joy and happiness of having their very own puppy to love. Adoption. We both wondered exactly what adoption was and what it would mean to us in our little humble abode. Ginger went on to explain that one day, when we were both strong enough to be without her, that we would leave her and be sent to a place that helps humans adopt baby dogs. She told us that we had to be strong and happy because humans wanted happy, strong dogs. As the words "leave her" started to resonate in our brains, simultaneous bursts of deep, heartfelt sobs, cries, and tantrums ensued. Through our sobs of tears, I could hear Ginger's gentle voice telling us that this was destiny, and that she too, who had a birth mother whose name was Lady, and that she as well had also been put up for adoption as a young puppy. As Luke and I lay on our backs, paws in the air, sobbing uncontrollably, Ginger raised her voice and scolded us, reminding us that sacred special dogs would not react as such. Once our sobs subsided, Ginger told us that she had a secret that had helped her when she had been sent away to be adopted, a secret that had been passed down for generations in her family, a secret that Lady had told Ginger, and a secret that Lady's mother had told her, and so on and so forth. The secret was as simple as this. In the adoption agency, Ginger said we would encounter many humans, but the moment when we saw a human and the human looked into our eyes, and when our hearts filled up with a happiness so strong that it felt like it was going to burst out of our chests, that was the moment that we were to shine, jump, dance, smile, and do whatever it took to make sure that this human knew that we were the puppy for them. Then, Ginger said, we would find true happiness. To be honest with you, this all sounded like a bunch of crap to Luke and me, but whatever, we just kept on hoping that this adoption thing would never happen. But like I said before, this tale is a true tale, and unfortunately, there were no fairy tale magic godmothers or mystical fairies that could save us from the reality of life, the reality of a dog's life. The day Ginger's humans came to take me away was incredibly sad for me. Ginger gave me one long lick and whispered in my ear that someday she would see me again. She told me to love and be happy, and that I was always with her in her heart. What made this day particularly difficult was that Ginger's humans, just got me teared up there. What made this day particularly difficult was that Ginger's humans had decided to keep Luke with their family. I was the only one being sent away to be adopted. You know, I kind of wondered why over the last week Ginger's humans had been playing more with Luke. They'd even started calling him some weird name, Baby Spice. What kind of a stupid name is that for a dog? I thought to myself. Anyway, I guess Ginger really should have named me Unlucky, because I did not feel very lucky. I was the only one being sent away from my family, and the only home I knew. End of chapter 1. But don't worry, chapter 2 is called As Luck Would Have It. And I have a feeling that Lucky's going to be okay. Anyway, if you like the story, I think it's pretty good. You can get it on Amazon. They're actually selling it cheaper than what I can afford to buy it for now. So you have to put in my name or the title. But anyway, I think I need to read you another chapter, another day, just so you know that this book doesn't end in sadness. But anyway, it's obviously a work of fiction, but it was based on the love for this little dog cannoli that I had. And for all of you out there who know the beauty of finding love in an animal and the gifts you learn from it, you'll appreciate the story. Anyway, hang in there with the COVID, everybody. We're all